If you'd like to sponsor Still Got Game, give us a call at 773-527-2961 or email us at podcast@tooltoplay.com. Hey now, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Still Got Game, episode 515. Still Got Game is the official podcast of tooltoplay.com. I am, as always, Derek D. Smooth Nolan.
I am Chris Selden, 007 Selden.
I am Brian Shadow Emmerich.
And it's Selden's birthday, and he's still doing a show with us tonight. So, yes.
Yeah.
He's getting
big
lit.
30.
He has shots lined
Big
up in front of
30.
him. Yeah.
Big 3-0. All right.
I'm big 3-0 tonight.
Yes.
Plus a few.
Oh, happy birthday, Selden. Happy birthday.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Yep.
I couldn't pass up an opportunity to do the show, so.
Yep. Do some shots during the show. Yeah. You got everything all set up. I know you're squared away.
Yeah.
Did you already get your cake?
Already had the ice cream cake?
Nice.
Oh,
That's
we're
what I
all
get
good.
too.
All the in-laws are no longer in the house, so they're gone.
Well, it's not.
I'm sure it was
record
great
that
to have them.
evidence. Yes,
but-
yes, exactly. Yes.
Maybe that's why I agreed you to do a
I'm
show.
so
I
sad
can say,
they're
listen,
gone."
guys, I got to do a show. You got to leave
Yeah, right.
now.
Maybe.
Wow. Perhaps, or not.
We just cut that part.
Yep. I'm pretty sure that Barb doesn't listen to the show.
No.
Oh,
No.
It's
I
like
can't even
see
get
him
my
enough.
kids to listen
I
to
don't
the
need to
show.
see him an hour and a half more. It's enough.
This is a break for her. Yeah, she's like, go to your chainsaw room and record. All right.
I got a really good knife for my birthday. Like
Oh,
a nice little, it's about 18-inch long saw blade on it, so it's nice.
Ooh, I didn't realize you were a murderer. That's cool.
A murderer of trees.
Yeah. Oh, Selden murders tree. This is an unpopular opinion. These opinions do not reflect the opinions of Tool to Play.
I'm a lumberjack and I'm
yes.
okay.
All right, so why don't we just jump right in the show proper? We'll, as always, hit off the mailbag for feedback and questions from our last episode. And remember, if you leave us a voicemail, it will cut you off after a minute. H2O Rala comments. Thanks for the advice on starting my own gaming podcast. I've picked up most of the gear I need and think I convinced a few of my friends to do it with me. I'll be sure to let you folks know when it launches.
Sweet. Good luck.
Yeah.
If you ever need
Let
a
us
guest
know.
host, you just let us know. I'm always
Wow,
available.
Selden wants to guest host some other show.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'll help out.
Wow.
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 That's quite a commitment. I can barely do this show. So, yes. And I was almost even convinced that I really didn't even need to know when it launched. So, but H2O Rala,
Now you
Selden's
do.
got your back. Yes. Yeah. All right. Next up, Pucker Sunch asks, what games are you most excited for them to come out? Well, interesting sentence structure. It's a question.
Don't be a
nonetheless.
dick.
Yeah, I'm not. I was already a dick to H2O
Yes,
Rala.
you are. You know you are.
Because I keep them as they come in because it's much more fun to go through them that way. But
I will say the first game that pops to my mind, and Derek's going to hate this, but it's NCAA college football coming out later this hopefully summer sometime. So NCAA 24.
oh,
Is
interesting.
there something new with that, or is it?
Hasn't been out since 2012 because there was
Oh.
issues with the
with paying the
using
athletes?
Players'
paying
likenesses.
athletes and using college athletes, but now with name and likeness in effect in college football, where college athletes can get paid for their name and likeness, that they've worked out deals with the college athletes and the schools, and they're bringing the game back.
So you know all these players,
Nice.
Selden? Like, who's your
I know-
favorite player in Alabama?
Alabama doesn't have a team anymore because Saban left. Everybody's
See-
leaving.
See, I don't know any of this because they're not real paid players. So that's
If
why.
you told me that they didn't actually have a team anymore, I'd probably believe you. But it sounds like they just suck.
Ohio State picked up New England's offensive coordinator. So
The Ohio State.
the Ohio State is
The Ohio State University. Yes.
yes.
Oh,
Nice.
Yeah, I know that from the player intros each week on Real Sports. So yes,
I know that from my best friend who's a huge Ohio State fan, and I've always known that. I don't pay attention to them. I just know that. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the game I'm looking forward to this year. Probably the most right now. So there's a bunch of other ones out there. So
Shadow.
How about you, Shadow?
I know, I haven't really gone through 2024 too much yet. I'm still catching up on last year's, which was a crazy year, but I know that I'm very excited for Paper Mario Thousand Year Door remake that's going to be on Switch from GameCube. That's going to be probably sometime in the summer. Avowed looks pretty good. Indiana Jones looks great.
Indiana Jones
that was
looks
mine.
phenomenal.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that stuff later, but for sure. Otherwise, I don't know. So much came out this past year that I don't know what's left. I mean, I'm sure there's stuff I'm not thinking of though, so we'll talk about
everything
that
came
later.
out in October, if you remember. So yeah.
Yeah, right. It's like September, October, and then I have games for the next 6 months. Yeah,
Avowed looked good too. I'm looking forward to that too.
I said Avowed. Yeah, that looks good. The cover for that's awesome. That's some of the coolest I've seen. So yeah.
Absolutely.
How about you, Derek?
Like I said, the Indiana Jones game is really all I'm looking forward to at this point. Like I don't have like a lot of cool stuff on my radar. I'm trying to play more, watch more shows and play less bad games so that I don't get upset and annoyed and but I'm still doing bad at both. I'm not watching enough shows and I'm not playing enough games. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, I have high hopes for that. A first-person Indiana Jones game that slips into third person so you can see cool shit happen and play out and then go back into first person. That's like really just what I wanted since I was like 5. So
yeah. Right. Yeah. I've always hoped for a really good indie game, and there were a couple in the past that I sort of missed.
The point-and-click ones were great. Yeah, like even
those but
it wasn't.
I mean,
it
like
wasn't a modern game.
Action.
Yes,
yeah. I mean, there were. I think there was something like the Infernal Machine on N64 or something. But back then, I mean, stuff didn't look like crap. I mean, it looked fine to us when we were that age, maybe. But I'm glad that there's something that's modern now that shows younger indie. Actual indie is old right now.
Yes,
so
we can keep
at least we can kind of live on through.
If they want to crank out sequels to this, yes.
I mean, there's so many years in between that he did things. We know he did.
Yeah.
So
he had tons of adventures. And crazy shit happened, and he punched a bunch of fucking Nazis. And that's
so many Nazis.
All good news. Yes.
So many.
I'll tell you, the whip mechanics in that game look freaking phenomenal.
Oh, yeah. It was like super nice. Yeah.
You got to really do that well. So hopefully.
Yeah. So that's really on my radar. So sorry, Pucker Sunch. Not a whole lot of variety in our answers, but we'll see what happens, and other games will be announced. There'll be some surprise drops like there that last year with what was the
Hi-Fi Rush.
Hi-Fi Rush, and so who knows what's coming, but at least from what we know within the last week, now I'm very excited about a game. So yes.
I didn't even realize I wasn't thinking that was going to be an exclusive, but I'm like, oh wait, it's Bethesda. So yes, it will.
Yes,
I'm sure that there will be some multi-platform games like maybe Skyrim or maybe Elder Scrolls 6. I don't know.
You never know.
But this is like, this is something we can definitely keep to ourselves. Yeah, it's a big thing. So they're both big things, but oh no.
Oh, Hit came into chat to say happy birthday to you, Selden.
Oh no.
Yes.
So no.
It was going so well.
It was.
Are you guys frozen?
Well,
I'm not. Check 1, 2. Is it just me? I am the only one doing. Oh, it's because that's not good. Yep. Stay with me, show. Stay with me.
Pulling good numbers. So.
Recording in progress.
Hey, welcome back.
Hey.
So that was a crash of Zoom.
Can you
So,
hear us?
Yes.
we're still
Oh, he
fighting.
locked up instantly when he came back?
Yay.
Oh, no. Oh, he's
There
moving.
he is. Oh, he's
Yeah,
moving.
I can hear
We
you
got it.
guys. I can
Okay.
hear you.
Oh, okay. Well, we were
Yeah.
like out of the meeting before, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's
Anyway.
the recording stopped and Brian's the host. Do you need us to back out and come back
Oh,
in
no,
also?
no,
or-
we're good. We're good. Zoom
He's good.
just
Alright.
crashed. I just have to figure out how to take over host here. No, it says I'm recording still, so I think we're good.
Yep.
Yeah, recording kicked back in once you started going live again. So
Cool. So yeah, I think that. I mean,
So
it's
what I was saying
possible that
before we
Elder
get
Scrolls
lost
might,
stuff
but-
here is that Hit wished you a happy birthday in chat, Selden.
Oh, thank you,
Oh.
Hit. Thanks, man.
Nice.
Good to
Yeah,
see you.
so he
Hit.
shows up for your birthday, and then we'll see him again next year.
Yes.
Did Hit crash it? Yeah, no. Just kidding.
Yeah.
So everything seems back to normal again. We haven't lost anything. So we'll keep moving on. I'm not sure what's
Cool.
up with Zoom. Zoom is
Mm.
issue ridden. So, all right. Next up, Better Call Paul. So creative. Better Call Paul asks, I am planning to attend PAX East for the first time this year and know that D-Smooth goes every year. I can probably only go on one day, so which would you recommend to maximize my value?
Thursday.
Thursday is the best day, yes.
Yeah.
Thursday.
Is that the first day?
Light crowd. Yeah, it's Thursday, Friday,
Yeah.
Saturday, Sunday now. Thursday and Sunday are the lightest of crowds. Sunday, a lot of exhibitors start packing down their booths earlier that day. So you kind of miss out on some stuff. But Thursday, like, no one in their right mind is taking 2 days off of work and going Thursday and Friday. So the Thursday crowds are low. It's
Smaller.
Yeah, it's almost like it's a media day on those days. So definitely, I would recommend Thursday. Obviously, you're going to need to. Well, I don't know where you're coming from, but if you're only going one day, I assume you're not flying in. You're probably driving from a New England or tri-state area state. So you would need probably a hotel for that day. The only downside of that morning is that it starts a little later than the other days, but it's easily made up for by the lack of crowds. So
now all the exhibitors have to be up like doors open on Thursday too, right? They aren't rolling in late Thursday, you come in Friday morning type thing, are they?
No, they're definitely up that day. Sometimes they're not up during media hour, which comes the hour before it opens to the general public. Like we've been where they're still putting together booths for like and getting their shit squared away. But by the time the normies come in, it's definitely up and ready. So Tiff and I got our media credentials approved this week. I don't know if either of you guys have applied for credentials. You're coming up for PAX East. No,
that'd be cool though.
Not in
Maybe
the
next
cards,
year.
but-
Maybe next year. Yeah.
How did Tiff
I'd
get
always
the
like to do that.
credentials?
Because we provided our coverage from last year's post PAX East show.
Oh,
so yes,
okay.
yeah. We talked for 2 hours. So yes, that helped out. So yes. Yeah, and I'm sure she'll be back in the early April timeframe to do the same. So
Yeah, now Better Call Paul. If
Cool.
you're going for things other than just the booths, if you're going for the tabletops and stuff like that, you really got to look at like the schedule for when their tournaments and stuff are. So, like if you're going there for some kind of role playing or board game or something like that in the back rooms, that's a totally different schedule. So you gotta look at that too. So
and see, those schedules still haven't even dropped yet. So the panel and all those schedules are supposed to drop in the next week or two. And then for people buying badges, like I assume Better Call Paul is, I think it's February 12th is the date to have them shipped to your home. So you already have your badges, so you don't have to pick them up at the show. So probably wants to get in before that. But yeah, it's like I said, Thursday you'll get the most benefit from, but you'll also probably, I don't know what your job is, but you'll have to take a day off of work or two. So yeah, it's tough. That's why it's a multi-day pass, and you go for a bunch of days. So, uh,
What are
or
those passes running these days, anyways?
to be honest, I'm like
You
not
don't
the.
know.
I've never paid for a PAX East pass, so let's actually check this out.
Because
East
I know you get a deal on like the 4-day pass or the 3-day pass, but
All
like
right,
a 1-day pass is going to be exorbitantly higher than
so if I pick get badges, Thursday is each day is $67, or you can buy a 4-day badge for 250. Um,
That's not well. It's a little bit of a discount. Not
Yeah.
much. Maybe
Yeah.
$20.
yeah. So yeah,
Like
I
if you're
guess
outside the industry, I don't a 4-day pass is going to be overkill for a lot of people.
yes, yeah,
I would
yeah,
think so.
yeah, yes.
Unless you're doing like those backroom game sessions and stuff like that, that it's going to be multiple days and stuff like that you're playing.
Yeah. Oh, I
I feel
accidentally
like
gave
PAX used to be smaller, like 2 days maybe, and it just kept
no.
getting
It was
bigger.
it was always 3, and then they extended it to 4 to match out
Okay.
with PAX West, because
West.
PAX West is always on the Labor Day weekend, so they have the Monday, and then they extended this to be the Thursday, which it's not a holiday, and it's always on a different, like, cold as balls weekend. So it's an interesting play, but it does allow them to get 4 days of sales and 4 days of panels and everything else in. I will correct myself that I said February 14th, I think, but it's February 11th for Better Call Paul if you're buying your badge or badges. That way they'll get shipped to you instead of having to wait in the will call line to pick them up. So,
Maybe
yeah,
the 14th is a Wednesday, so would that make the 11th Sunday?
Super Bowl Sunday, right?
oh, could be, yeah. Let's see here. February 11th is a Sunday, yes. So you have to order your badges before Sunday, February 11th, if you want them shipped to you. Otherwise, you'll pick them up at will call. That's what we do anyway with media badges, but usually I go the Wednesday and pick them up.
I used to go to Lollapalooza here in Chicago
Oh, nice.
back a long time ago, and it was 2 days, and then they made it 3, then they made it 4, so it's 4 now. It's like 4 days. I don't know. Things just keep getting more and more days. It's a lot, man. 4 days at PAX would be a lot. I guess if you're in the industry and you need to be there
Now,
to see everything.
even now, it's like with appointments and everything else, like, and the smaller footprint of PAX, we can do it probably in 2 days. Like last year, we went to the casino in Boston on one of the days because we didn't like I scheduled appointments correctly, so it's really just a whole bunch of days in Boston having good food and going good
That's
stuff.
true.
But
I love the food
Yeah,
there.
because you stay downtown in a hotel when you do PAX East, right?
oh yeah. So if unless it returns to its prior capacity and glory, you can definitely do the whole thing as media, you can do the whole thing in 2 days. If you're a normal person that's going to go wait and sit in a line to go to the Nintendo booth for 4 hours instead of having an appointment, it really still is a multi-day show for normal people. So, yeah. So I don't know what to tell you. Better Call Paul. Like, I'm not going to tell you to drop $250 a person. If you get a family of 4, that's a cool grand before whatever hotel room you get and everything else. And hotels.
Well, he can only go to 1 day anyway, so I would say
that's true.
Thursday, right?
Yeah, Thursday would be the day. Yeah.
If anything, I mean, push for 2 days, do Thursday, Friday. At least get to it.
Yeah, if you're gonna stay
You're an
overnight,
enabler.
you're gonna probably stay that night anyway. Like, depending on where you're coming from, because you're gonna maximize the day. I guess if you're coming from like Rhode Island or whatever, you could drive back and you could drive down in the morning. But yeah, just take the extra day. Come on. Come out to the coast. One few laughs. Yeah. Oh. All right. Moving on, last but certainly not least, Altius asks, what, if any, long-term implications do you see from Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard? Is there something we overlooked that could have negative side effects?
I mean, one of the big things that's starting to show right now is that a lot of the smaller companies are saying, well, we don't want to sell out. We don't want to be brought in under a bigger umbrella. We want to stay independent. So it's really creating more of a rift between the small companies and the bigger acquisition companies. So
like the ones doing the layoffs.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to lose a lot of the middle ground companies out there that I think, because they're gonna either go uber independent or try to get bought up. So you might lose some of that middle ground area. So
yeah, I mean, at this point, Activision was already huge, so I would have said, oh well, they bought Activision, so now they own all of that IP, and then that can't go anywhere else, or all the old IP is now all in one place, but it kind of was anyway because Activision already had it. So
yeah, that's true.
All the old Atari stuff and all that. So they have all that now. I don't know. I mean, it will depend, because if Xbox ends up being bad in some way that does something we don't like, well, they have all that IP and they can do whatever they want with it. So something that we liked from a long time ago, something might happen to it, or they might decide not to make whatever that maybe Activision on its own would have. But honestly, I trust Xbox more than I would have Activision. So at this point, but who knows? You don't know. So
yeah.
you Derek?
Yeah, like I can't think of any bad part of this. It's I guess the point of like a lot of studios having issues and layoffs and closing down, it could be like an early clue to the side effects of this, but to me it only seems good. It seems good for gamers, seems good for Microsoft certainly, and seems good for the three of us. So
yeah, I mean, I would say at this point it's yet to be seen. Hopefully not.
Yeah.
Hopefully nothing bad.
I mean, the one bad thing is that Microsoft's going to take 10 times the amount of flack if anything goes wrong, though. Now they're going to be, if the next Call of Duty sucks ass, they're going to be like, "Oh, Microsoft!"
It's because Microsoft took it over. Yes, yeah. No.
So they're going to get a lot more heat than they would have otherwise. So,
or I mean, one thing could be that they spent a lot of money on it, and maybe that made it so that they couldn't do some other things they were going to do, or maybe some jobs needed to go or something because of all that money they spent. And if they're not recouping it quick enough, some layoffs might happen. So that's another thing, possibly.
I guess we'll have to wait and see. Like, none of us have crystal balls. Well,
you don't have a crystal ball?
My balls are.
You should get one of those.
They're pretty cool. Crystal ball. No. Yeah. So we went there. But anyway,
Tiff.
So Altius, great question for once. So if any have questions or feedback, give us a call 773-527-2961 or email us at podcast@tooledtoplay.com. And on that, why don't we move on over to what we're playing? Seldon, what have you been playing this week?
I have been continuing on in my adventures in Harry Potter. Really liking that game. It's got a lot of side quests. I'm getting a little
or what?
I went Ravenclaw.
Wow.
I went the Ravenclaw. So I almost went Slytherin, but I decided Ravenclaw is the way I want to go. So
yeah.
But yeah, the DLC. There's announcements of DLC coming and stuff like that, which is great.
Yeah.
Some of the PlayStation exclusives are being released. I think the Halloween theme, something or another.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that. But still working my way through, building my wizard, getting my spells, solving the puzzles, so chasing down keys and shit like that. So having a fun time with that. And then the game that dropped yesterday, I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about it, but Pal World. I got into Pal World and I've been enjoying the shit out of that game. Yeah. I know it's they classify it as the meme game of Pokemon with guns. But I really see it more of it's more of an Ark style game with Pokemon in it, and
guns.
and guns.
So are they actually? They're not actually Pokemon.
No,
they just seem. They just seem like it.
If you remember, originally this game they were, and then there was some legal action, and then things were changed. But when this was like, we saw the first videos of this, it was a
just
rip-off.
Pokemon.
Yes, yeah.
Well, it's still pretty much a ripoff. There's definitely a mouse that has electricity type of creature that's out there with a big lightning bolt on him. But it's animated in the style of almost like a Zelda. It's almost like a Zelda style cell shading too, and the sound effects in the background are very Zelda-like. So it's really got a lot of elements from a lot of different games that are coming into it. It's been a shit ton of fun so far that I've been playing it. So
what kind of game
stolen
is it?
from Nintendo?
It's more of an arc. I would say it's more of an arc
you say
survival
arc,
type of
but
game.
I don't really know. Like, is it like it's third person? I'm assuming, and
yes, it's third person. It's survival based. So you gotta you gotta build your bases. You got incoming hordes that attack you, and you gotta level up your skills.
Well, you don't level up in Fortnite, do you?
No, you level up, you build your bases, you advance your pals, and you advance your skills through skill trees and things like that.
Pokemon.
So. Yes, yeah, your mons. Yes, yeah, your pals.
It's
your pocket monsters.
Yes. And it sold really well on Steam. It's on Game Pass right now, so and it's hit a big time user base already. So I highly recommend give it a try. So
Game Pass, might as well.
Might as well.
My son might like that, but I don't know. Sounds like he already plays stuff that's violent, probably in Roblox. So.
Yeah. Oh, that's true too. Yes, yeah.
I wouldn't put it as a violent game, but it's definitely. I could see kids.
Says the guy with the giant 16-inch knife that kills trees. So
18-inch.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
Excuse me.
Shrinkage.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
18.
But that's pretty much all. That's pretty much all I've been playing. How about you, there, Mr. Shadow?
So I went through and I decided to just kind of go back, and I was going to start the new Star Wars game, but I started it and then I played about
Saga. That one?
No, the new Star Wars, the Jedi Survivor.
Oh, okay.
I was going to play that. I started about an hour of that, and I just stopped. And I'm like, if I get into this, it's going to be 30 hours or whatever it's going to be. I'm going to go back and just kind of play some like small games that I can finish, and just kind of stuff that's been sitting on my back burner for a while on my backlog. So I played Lego Pirates, finished that up. I played Cocoon all the way through.
These Lego games have like 30 hours of gameplay.
Nah. Especially the old ones. Some of them might. Like Skywalker Saga, probably it has all the games, right? Yes, I know that the original Star Wars saga with Lego all the first 6 games that took forever. But this is like Lego Pirates is very short. I played Cocoon all the way through, which I liked that a lot.
That was really a fun game. I enjoyed that one. So
I'd recommend that. It's very short. You can probably beat it in you can beat it all the way through with all the collectibles. There aren't that many, and maybe 4 hours, 5 hours tops, I would imagine. And it's on Game Pass, so you can't beat that. I played Telling Lies, which is a game by the person who made Her Story, and they also made something was with an I, like Invincibility.
I know what you're talking about now.
Inevitability or something like that.
Yeah,
I forget what it was.
You've broken me by saying these wrong words, but yes, I know exactly
Invincibility, Inevitability.
Those are the
whatever it is,
real life video integrated games.
Yeah, so they're FMV video. Yeah, so Her Story isn't on Xbox, but this was on, and I bought it at some point for super cheap. And it's a game where you go in and you're sitting at a computer. You sit down, your actual character sits down on the computer screen, and you just screw it on the computer trying to solve this crime. Like you're a detective, and you have this thumb drive full of, or not if you're a detective, you're not. You're just trying to solve this mystery of this whatever this person did. You don't know what they did, you don't know who did it, and you kind of have to just watch all these videos, and then when the subtitles come up, you can click on them and search on different words in the subtitles and search for more videos that go with those, and just kind of keep going through it. And it's interesting. It's not an action game. It's definitely just kind of, if you like deducing things, it's kind of cool. So it's can be short, it can be long, depends how long it takes you to get through them all and decide what are because you don't know what terms to search for, so you have to kind of just jump around. And it's interesting though. It has some people, a couple people that I knew. One girl from Westworld was on it.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
other one was on it too that I don't know her name, but I know her. A guy who looks a lot like Tom Hardy. I thought it was Tom Hardy at first, but it's not. But he looks just like him. But
Close
anyway,
enough.
so then yeah. But it was a pretty cool game and finished that. And Lego Force Awakens, I had started with my son years ago and I just never finished it. So I had about half done. I finished that. Then I
The
started to
question is, did you
expand.
finish it with him or did you blow him off?
I didn't finish it with him because he
Mm,
probably wouldn't have wanted to play it right now. He's too into his Fortnites and stuff right now. So,
fair
but
enough.
yeah, maybe in the future play more. I started the Expanse Telltale series game. I
Oh yeah,
started
yeah. I've heard
maybe
of
like an hour and a half of that. Yeah, I'm gonna
good
definitely go
stuff.
through and
Yeah,
finish that.
nice.
And I just popped on the Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed game, which I started that. Seems really fun. I'll definitely play that with my son though at some point. But the
Nice.
problem with that one, it's not a problem, but it doesn't have same screen co-op, so you have to be on different systems, which is
Yeah.
fine. We can do that. It would have been nice to play in the same room, but not a huge deal. But you can just go in and start like busting ghosts and uh taking
Busting makes you feel
contracts and
good.
stuff.
Yeah.
It does. It makes me feel good.
Busting
So
makes
that's
you
what I
feel
that's
good.
what I've been working on this
Yeah.
week. How about you,
Nice.
Derek?
Not a whole lot of shit. Monopoly Go on my phone, and then I tried another few songs in Fortnite Festival, which is the Harmonix connection, like fake
Mhm.
rock bandy thing that does not yet support guitars, but it will sometime in the near future.
That's a new thing, is
Uh,
what they say.
yeah,
That's
so
why they're
it's
stopping Rock Band.
yeah,
I was gonna say, yeah, that was kind of the story that came out is that they're
yeah,
stopping DLC for Rock Band because of
yeah.
the Fortnite game.
They've
Fortnite
been putting
Festival's the
out
place to
Rock Band
be.
DLC every week for
For like 8 years.
fucking
Isn't that
years.
crazy?
It's
Yeah.
like I told Tiff, I was like, "That's the end of an era," and she's like, "Wait, they're still putting out DLC?" And she was the one that was writing stories for the website Rock Band Aid for a while before she came to Tool to Play and all this other. So that Harmonix treated that game right. But yeah, now
Yeah.
it's time for them to move on to their new overlords at Epic and create new content. And like there was also all the content for Fuser. I don't know if you guys ever got into Fuser or
Mm.
oh, it was like the belle of the ball at PAX East like 4 or 5 years ago, and it's a super fun another music game where you collect different pieces and connect them together uh, and kind of put on a show. And I really love that game as well. So I've always been huge into the Rock Band stuff. So yeah, yeah.
Um, so but Rock Band's it came out, then it went away, and then it came back, and then it ran for 8 more years, I think. Like
Uh, well,
it
no,
had the
they
first,
did
right?
they did Rock Band, Rock Band 2, Rock Band 3, and then Rock Band
Yeah.
4 was the one that
And then
ran for 8 years. Yes, yeah.
okay, I thought there was like a break or something. They had like stopped and then they decided to they come back and bring more DLC and then they just ran with it for a while. Okay.
No, no, Rock
I could
Band's
be
been
wrong.
pretty steady. It was Guitar Hero that took a break, and then they came back with Guitar Hero World Tour. So they took a few years off because Rock Band was kicking their ass. So they did Guitar Hero 2, and then there was a
3.
hiatus, and then they came back. So yeah,
Okay.
but we love those
Well,
games. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, kudos to them. Nobody can say they didn't support that game.
No, certainly not. So yes, yeah,
Yeah.
but
I just want to know the guy that sat in the closet coding those songs for 8 years is like, I gotta pop out another one. Hold on a second.
yeah. So we actually know some people who were Tiff's friends from the Rock Band community that got hired by Harmonix as contractors that were charting those. That's what they call it, charting, where you line the dots up with the song,
Right.
and they worked there for years and years charting those songs. They charted hundreds, if not thousands, of songs. Because if you have a music background, it's much easier for you to do that than someone with a computer science background.
Yeah.
But they would they would eye songs, and they would have to do it for beginner and intermediate, like all those levels, and do that. And it's if you think about how much work that is, it's insane for like the $3 that someone's going to pay you for that
Yeah.
song. Yeah.
And the people that still have it and are still buying it weekly, and they're not going to buy it every week. So,
No, exactly. Yeah. So
jeez.
yeah, we have friends. They came to our wedding. So yeah. But yeah, so there are people that Harmonix had outsourced that to as contractors. But I can see why this doesn't scale, especially as a game gets 8 years old and you're trying to figure out how to continue to get revenue off of something that you sell for $3 a song, but you have to pay someone to chart that song. So it's it's tough. But now that they have all that Epic money, they can just keep doing Fortnite festival songs. So yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, on that, why don't we move on over to new releases? First new release out this week is Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, out for the Xbox, the PlayStation, the Switch, and the PC. This is a harken back to old school Prince of Persia games, except that they have done so much mocap in this game that even though it's like a 2D side scroller kind of game, like Prince of Persia always has been, and even Jordan Mechner back in the day in Prince of Persia 1, that original climbing mechanic of jumping up and climbing up the next level, that was all early mocap. But they have done, like, I think they said 200, 300, 400 hours of mocap for a side scrolling game where you only ever get really the side view of the character. It looks phenomenal. I loved these games back in the day, and this might be my kind of game that goes kind of dips in my Vampire Survivors. Like, it's not like you don't have to put in hundreds of hours. You can just go have some fun, kick some ass, and then carry on. But yeah, it looks fantastic. So I am this is on my short list of things I may pick up. So
Yeah, I may also. I loved growing up. Let's see, I was in like second, third grade. We had old Apple, we had the Apple
Paratika.
IIe's, and then we had the Macintosh.
Yep.
It was like the first Macintosh. It might have been Lisa. I think it was Macintosh. But yeah, they were the blue screen ones.
Yep.
And they had Prince of Persia, and that was about it. It was like that and just maybe word processing. And we'd like rotate around the room, and everyone who had a 2E was playing Oregon Trail, and everyone who got to the Macintoshes get to play Prince of Persia. So I would just wait for that day to come and I could play it, and it just looked so good. I mean, it still kind of looks good.
No,
I mean,
it does.
it's
Like,
it
so
looks phenomenal.
so
Really.
fluid.
It was animated so much better than stuff. Even Karateka or Karateka or whatever you want to call it. The Apple II version of the predecessor to Prince of Persia. That game still looks good. And then Prince of Persia, like, scaled up on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that game. So I'll probably check this out at some point when it hits a sale. I'm just too far in the deep weeds of backlog right now.
Yeah, you and your hundreds of games that you play each week. Yes. Yeah.
Every week.
Yep.
Hundreds.
Yeah, I mean, it does look phenomenal, and this may be a pickup for me too. So we'll see.
Wow, look at that. Social.
I see us having some dead period ahead of us between game releases, so this might be one that I go back and grab. So
fantastic. Next new release out this week is Like a Dragon: Infinite Wealth. So this is, for those of you that are unfamiliar, that you don't have PlayStations or whatever, this was basically the next iteration of the Yakuza series. So Yakuza was a thing, and then there was Like a Dragon, Jizz Fest, or whatever the first one was called. And that was how they migrated to the Like a Dragon
I believe that
series.
Was the name. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it wasn't, but I needed something on off the cuff. So Like a Dragon: Infinite Wealth is the next one in that series, out for the Xbox, the PlayStation, the PC. I was never a huge Yakuza guy. I felt like you needed to have like too much inside knowledge. Like, it was really super inside baseball. So I never got into those, but I know a lot of like PlayStation gamers did back in the day because the Yakuza games used to be exclusives at one point, and so I don't know what interest you guys have in, but I've heard these Yakuza games are fantastic. Uh, I've talked to folks at PAX and all these other conventions that like they're like Yakuza, yeah, yeah. But it's just it never interested me. But what do
I
you
mean,
guys think?
I think it's a lot of the the Japanese market influence that likes these type of games.
Yeah,
People that are into that whole genre are definitely going to like this. It's not something that I go out of my way to play. I'll play one of these type of games every now and then, but it, it's just not something I go looking for usually. So
I haven't played any of them yet, probably because of, like you mentioned, it felt like there was so much backlog you had to get through before
yeah,
you
yeah.
understood what was going on in the newer ones. And also it was on PlayStation, which I wasn't my focus in the past. But now that I think everything's on Xbox at this point, and they went back and they remastered a lot of stuff and brought it all together, and it's like 0 through 7 or something now. I
Oh
don't
yeah,
know,
yeah.
something crazy. Plus the extra stuff and the man who erased his name and all
Yeah,
those
yeah.
games. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'll eventually check it out. I don't really know what type of game it is. It seems like I don't know. I
It's
haven't
like
really
a
looked into it too much.
yeah.
What type of game is it?
It's like an action game, but it's also like a life simulator, but it's also like a mini
Okay.
game. So like
yeah,
you play a bunch of like weird ass mini games.
it's like that game on the original Xbox that was like 7 discs
Shenmue?
long.
Oh,
Yeah.
like Shenmue and Shenmue 2, those were like life simulator kind of games
Yes. Yeah.
ish, but sort of
Yeah.
like Yakuza.
Yeah.
They might be related to Yakuza in some way. I can't remember,
I'm not sure, but they could
uh,
very well
but
be.
yeah,
Yeah.
I may check it out at some point. Now that it's kind of gotten repackaged into this, here's all the games at once, and they're all on Xbox, and they're all, I mean, I think they're on Game Pass, or at least some of them might
I
be.
think yeah, some of them are, and you're like, well,
So
next month I have like 700 hours free to play games, so
yeah,
maybe I'll just
yeah.
bang
I
through
mean, when I'm not
Yakuza.
watching all
Yeah,
my movies
yeah, exactly.
and TV
No,
shows
those are your separate 700
and
hours
having
for
kids
games
and
and
not
700 hours for
sleeping.
movies and 700
Yeah,
hours for TV shows.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
and no
And work
sleeping
and
and no
no sleep,
working. Yes, yeah, yeah,
no
yeah.
sleep. Yeah, no.
Maybe you eat
Uh,
while you play. Yeah, who
we'll see.
knows? Yeah,
Yeah, maybe
Yeah,
that's when I'll lose
yeah.
some
it's
weight. I just
my
want to eat.
diet. Yes.
No, exactly.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyway,
All right. Next new release out this week is Tekken 8 out for the Xbox, the PlayStation, and the PC. We all know the Tekken series. This is supposed to be kind of like this open up imagining of Tekken where like there's some new gameplay mechanics that make it easier for normal people that are not part of the FGC, the fighting game community.
hmm,
So I
okay.
still don't know if I want to play a button masher. I feel like that's what that means when it's like it's accessible to people outside of the fighting game community. It just means that you can just mash the shit out of buttons.
Are they gonna make it so you can just map two buttons
Yeah,
instead of like all at 20?
Well, I mean, they made Street Fighter 6 a lot more accessible, like easier to
yeah.
play, I think, and I think people like that a lot. Tekken, maybe that's what they're doing with this one too.
Yeah.
I know that I've heard somebody on another cast talking recently that they were a big Tekken fan, and then some of the older ones didn't do it for them quite as much, but that 7 they loved a lot, and that they I think they played 8 or they were looking forward to 8 or something. So it could be that fighting games are kind of getting back into vogue. I mean,
Yeah.
on the normal person level.
Yeah, yeah, yes, yeah, yeah.
Because I know
Not
that there was yeah, other people who just play fighting games. Of course they're gonna play them. But like just Joe Schmo, maybe they'll still check it out now just because they're getting a little bit easier to play. Because yeah, it did get to a point where like you have to know all the combos and all the buttons, and you have to
yeah,
do like the 25 hit combos, or you're never gonna beat it. And
yeah,
we can't do that, or at least I can't.
yeah. And
So
I felt like there was like even when the Xbox was it the Xbox One or was it the Xbox Series?
the Killer
Whichever one
Instinct,
launched with
Killer Instinct.
Killer Instinct, yes. So that was a twist. and that was big in the zeitgeist. We also had the DC
new Mortal
Heroes
Kombat.
games.
Oh yeah,
What the hell were those called?
Injustice,
and then Injustice,
Gods Among
Gods
Us.
Among
Yeah,
Us. Yep.
those are fun.
Yeah, and those people liked, and then we had a whole resurgence of Mortal Kombat from Mortal Kombat 10, Mortal Kombat 11, Mortal Kombat 1. So they do seem to be coming back into the purview, but maybe making them more approachable and easier is what they needed to do all along, because that's kind of how the Injustice games were. Like Injustice, you didn't feel like you needed to memorize like a 700 button thing. It was like you hit start, you looked, and it was like hit YYX and you'll do something fucking awesome. Or just hit both bumpers and that does your super special motherfucking thing. And it's the same for everyone. And that kind of added to that approachability is like, yeah, you built up your meter, now go nuts. So maybe this does have maybe it's going in the right direction. So who knows? But
I think that's good, and I think that games like Smash Brothers kind of started that, where it's you don't have to know how to play fighting games really too much to just have fun. And if you do know how to play Smash Brothers really well, then there's a whole other level that you can be at and play at that level.
Yep.
But both people can have fun. Both types of people can have fun. You don't have to like be super good at it.
No,
I think that's the way to go, honestly.
No, I agree. Yep. Well said. So, all right. Last but certainly not least this week was Pal World out for the Xbox and the PC. It's out on Game Pass. We can even sort of try something weird. We'll connect this to our gaming news stories. So even though we're still in new releases, we're going to leave slightly and we're going to go into gaming news. And first story, Pokemon with Guns satire Pal World sells over 1 million copies in 8 hours. So this game...
That was a good transition.
1 million copies in... Thanks, I appreciate that. 1 million copies in 8 hours. It sold over 5 million copies over the weekend. This is something unique. Now, granted, it still is second to PUBG for concurrent players in the first day of sales, but this is looking to be a game changer. And obviously, Selden's balls deep in it, so...
Yeah. And it's still in pre-release, supposedly. It's not
crystal balls, dudes.
Yeah, crystal balls deep. Yes, yeah. Good callback. Good call.
Yeah. It is released as a pre-release, so it's not officially even released yet. But it is up for sale on Steam and on Game Pass. It's out there. So, and it's getting pretty good reviews all around from what I've seen. I haven't seen a lot of people complain about it. There's a lot in there. There's a lot of stuff that you can do. So I'm waiting to come across another real player because I did leave my world open to others. So we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, 5 million people don't buy a piece of shit. Just in general.
Well, it's on Game Pass. Maybe I'll jump in and check it out with you. We'll see. Give it a shot.
Will this be the first Shadow Selden coming together to play a game?
It could be, although he may be out camping, so I don't know. I'll have to check.
There is a couple weekends coming up that I won't be around. But
yes.
I'll in the Discord I'll publish my world code so you can jump in there if you want.
Okay.
Rampage through and steal my shit.
Destroy everything. Okay. Yeah.
Nice. It seems like that's where it's got up. He's like a store where you can get whatever you want for free. So yeah.
That's where the arc mechanic definitely comes in. Is because it is like I can lock my chests down so nobody can else access them, but I can also leave them open so you come in, you can go through my shit and take what you want. So,
all right, I will do that.
Shadow wants your shit.
I'm gonna get on at like midnight and just like rampage, take everything, and get up in the morning.
Where's my stuff? Where's my stuff?
I used to have a whole village. Where are all my pals? Where are my pals?
But yeah, this was kind of an exceptional launch. Like you don't usually see like the million copies in 8 hours. You don't see the over the weekend hype from all of the gaming news outlets. They all started. It was like the 1 million, then the 2 million, and then when the weekend was up, 5 fucking million. That's ludicrous.
Wow.
So
And it's the word still hasn't got out about the game too. This is just like
Yeah.
the people that are in the know. Like there's a bunch of people out there that probably gonna like, what the fuck is Pal World?
yes, yeah, exactly. Yes, that's why we're here to tell them about it.
And
I mean,
over in Europe, they're like PAL World, like PAL, like the TVs. Okay.
Like
I don't know
NTSC
what that
and
is.
PAL.
Yeah,
Like,
like PAL.
Yeah. Now I know there is the only complaint that I've really heard is that the Xbox version and the PC version are slightly different. The PC version you can have 32 people in a world at a time. I think the Xbox version maybe 4 or 6.
Wow,
So-
that's a big
Well,
delta.
So
I know you can play
I
it
know
on
they're
Xbox
working.
One,
Yeah.
so that might be why. Maybe they're keeping it so
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
backwards compatible and all that
yeah,
stuff.
I think they're working on some of these fixes as they go forward, but I know that they restricted the Xbox version down for the amount of concurrent users in a world. So
yeah. Well, we've already seen that they're willing to break their rules for Baldur's Gate 3 and say, hey, Series X is different than Series S, and
Yeah.
different
We'll see.
rules for different systems. So, yeah. And we know from Microsoft a couple of years ago, they were like, well, Xbox is being more like a PC ecosystem where like you upgrade things and things get better. And so hopefully they get more to that point where like, and I know people want to buy a Series S and have it play the same games, but maybe it plays the same games, but just at different resolution or different this or different that or with different settings, more like the PC world. So we'll see what happens. But all right, next story.
all right.
I see Shadow has highlighted a story to try to claim it for himself. So
Go
that
for it.
Sultan
You
has
can
to
if you
pick
want.
something different.
Take it if you want.
This was a
I don't
creative move. That was well done, Shadow. Yes, yeah.
I will take the next story after that. Rumored Halo Battle Royale project seemingly canceled. I don't think it's seemingly, I think it's pretty much official that the Battle Royale has been thrown away, discarded, and not going to ever see the light of day. It was never actually ever officially revealed or announced, but yeah, it seems like all indication says that we will not be seeing the Battle Royale. I know this is going to disappoint Smooth
No,
dramatically.
certainly not. It's like what would have disappointed me is this coming out. So yeah.
One more thing to not play.
I think Halo's in
Exactly,
Halo's in a bad spot right now. I think this would have helped if they would have got this out and it would have worked, but I don't know where they're going to go with the Halo franchise from here. So
I feel like, and I'll get into it on the next story, but I feel like they actually are doing a little better these days with Halo. I think because they're focusing more and they're not they're kind of moving away from their old plan to some new plans, and it's getting more popular, which I didn't realize actually. But then I've been reading up and listening to some stuff where it's like, yeah, it's doing better. Kids are actually starting to play it again. I don't know. We'll see. But the Battle Royale, I think that's just something that they should have stayed away from to begin with. It's not a Halo thing.
No.
So
Halo is
me.
a Team Slayer thing. Team
Yeah.
Slayer.
I always felt like it would fall more in the ODST universe of Halo than the
Yeah,
Master
I
Chief
can-
version of Halo.
I can see
Yeah.
it
and I
more
think
there.
that would have been
yes.
better that sitting in that world. But
yeah,
We'll see what happens.
see what happens.
All right, next
Uh,
story.
Speaking of which, Halo Infinite is done with seasons, doubling down on free operations instead. So it says lots of free content is coming, including the armor worn by Spartans in Halo Wars. So Halo Infinite won't receive any more seasons after season 6 that they're in right now, I believe. And it's leading to shorter free operations that will come every 4 to 6 weeks. They've started to, after I think season 4, it said, they stopped doing cinematics, and now this will be the last battle pass with like 100 tiers. After that, it's just going to be smaller things that come out over time, every 4 to 6 weeks. So more frequently, but less involved, which I think is probably a good idea, just because the longer seasons with the,
Oh, they're
I
so
mean, people can
drawn
hit.
out. Yeah.
They're so drawn out, and you can get to 100 if you play enough. You can get to 100 in a few days, and then you just wait around for 4 months and do
Something else.
nothing.
Yes. Yep.
And then it just makes people leave the game, I think. So this will keep them engaged, I think. And with all the stuff they've been doing recently with new maps, new Forge maps, Halo 3 stuff, I think all that stuff is great. And I think this is probably a good idea. Um, yeah, it says they're leaning into that as a big part of the game going forward. But yeah, the stream of seasons will be returning, which I think that's fine. Originally, when it first came out, I didn't even know that was gonna be happening because I just hadn't paid attention.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was like, okay, so every like, every few couple months I gotta buy a new Game Pass unless I then they
Unless
put in
you've built
the
up enough to get it. Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then they put that in after a little while. They put in, oh, now you can build up enough points to buy the next season if you play the previous season, and which is fine, but it always felt like it was a little bit paywalled the whole time.
Yeah.
So I
No, I
think
hear you.
this will maybe be a little better, but
Yeah,
yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I just think that this is, they weren't able to capture the lightning in the bottle of a live service gaming. Like that. I think that's what their intention was to go as a live service game platform where they continually update, give the cinematics, give the new season battle pass. And I just think that only one or two games have been able to capture that in that whole live
Fortnite.
game service. Yeah, Fortnite was perfect example of it. And there's been a couple iterations of that type of game, and it doesn't work. You have to hit that at the right exact time with the right exact formula, and not a lot of people have been able to do it. So I think that they tried. I think they're just falling back away from that type of platform. I don't see how much more content they're going to give you. I don't know if the free operations instead is really going to do it. How are they going to keep the live service going? If they're not getting an influx of cash of some sort. So are we looking more at DLC coming down the road where they're going to start selling packs again? Or are they going to rely on people to buy armor?
Be that way. Like the map packs that was like the original DLC, and it seemed to be like the sweet point. It was like, yeah, I'll buy new maps, I'll buy new maps, I'll buy new maps. And then
But
you had Forge. I'm like,
but the people who didn't buy the maps then couldn't be in those hoppers, and they had to, oh, we don't have that installed. Now we got to go install it so you can play with us. And that was the problem. That's what
and then
all
you
the
guilted
companies
your friends into being like, oh,
right.
Who the fuck didn't pay for this?
Yes, go buy that right now or get out.
I didn't. And then Shadow had to go buy it.
GTFO.
Right? Yes.
No.
Yeah. It's either fucking buy it or leave. Yes.
Yeah.
So it was like it was like a weird flex that got all your friends to buy the same shit. It was a genius marketing thing.
Well, but I think all the companies have decided the last like 5 years or so that they're just not going to do that anymore. It's just all of this maps are going to be out for everybody, and the cosmetics are going to be the thing, because Fortnite now made cosmetics a huge thing, now the kids want the cosmetics.
About cosmetics?
I don't. No, I don't.
I don't either.
But the kids do.
But what I care about is maps. I'll keep paying you $20 for new maps over and over and over. I won't pay you $20 for cosmetics.
That's true. I think the focus is going to be how they did it with they screwed up with the Master Chief Collection. We all know that.
Yes,
but they really righted it after like 5 years. It took them a long time. But it's
and
like
they brought that
now.
back around. Yes,
they did, and it's like perfect now, and it's something they can say, okay, here, buy it, get a Game Pass, play this, play all the Halo games for free, and now I think they're going to try to do the same thing with Halo Infinite. It's just going to be the selling point of Game Pass, and the system is, here's all the stuff for free. We're going to keep updating it, can keep getting new maps, and we're going to keep making it better. We fixed all this stuff, and now you jump in and everything's perfect. And I think people have a really short memory for stuff like that. Even think about Cyberpunk.
Oh, at some point, now everyone's back with the Sons of Liberty or whatever the fuck this is, and
people are returning it.
People
getting their money back. They
wait to play more Cyberpunk, and we all returned it. Yes,
yeah. And now it's fine. People have a really short memory, and I do too, because I did play it once it finally got all patched and back to pretty perfect, and I loved it.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have back then, and
No,
it
and
just
and I
time.
wouldn't have, because it was a completely different game than it was in beta. Like beta was an entirely different game. Oh, Selden
Yeah,
remembers this because I used to bitch
I
about
didn't
this on
play
the
that,
show.
so I remember you were
So yeah,
talking about that.
yeah,
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
not the same game. No. So
So I still haven't played the It's related, but I still haven't played that
System
System
Shock
Shock
one.
remake
Yeah,
because it
yeah.
still hasn't come to consoles. I was supposed to get my Kickstarter coded
Oh, that's
consoles
right.
whenever
Yes,
that
yeah.
comes out someday. It's just on PC still, and so I still haven't played it. But it's tangentially related to Cyberpunk because it's
Oh, I hear.
cyber-ish.
I hear.
So anyway,
That's why I hope Skull and Bones is completely different than the
no,
base set I was.
you mean when it comes out in
You
2032?
you mean the game that I saw at E3 8 years ago, and then seven, and then like the, that's
It was like
never
it
coming.
was like,
Yeah,
oh, Black Flag, this is really good.
yeah,
Everyone loves this.
yeah,
Assassin's Creed 4,
yeah.
let's make a
We'll make
ship
this
game.
like Sea of Thieves, but different, more like Black
Oh, this is
Flag.
way
Yes,
back.
yes,
Oh yeah,
yes,
right.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
Let's
I
get
hope it
hidden
comes out
here.
as
We
a
can talk about
turn-based
Sea of
board
Thieves.
game
yeah,
instead of
yeah.
what it is.
No, yeah, yeah. No.
Anyway,
All right.
all
Next
right, next.
story. So this one's kind of a weird title, so it doesn't really count as a title. But what to expect from Xbox in 2024? So Shadow had messaged me. He's like, "Oh, people are getting upset about Xbox and what's going to happen. Are they going to make hardware anymore?" And then Games Radar, who are reputable journalists, have already gone through and they said, "Hey, here's what to expect from Xbox Series X in 2024. Massive AAA releases, a banner year for Game Pass, and new hardware." So we already saw that round, new, weird ass digital Xbox from the leaks uh, from the trial. We saw that now Microsoft has all of these AAA exclusives, things that bring you to Game Pass. Um, I don't see this as an issue. Like, why would Microsoft not keep dropping hardware? They also have deals now with Samsung and a bunch of other things to bring uh xCloud streaming to TVs. Like my
That's not hardware.
8K TV in that room can stream with uh you know, not quite the same fidelity as playing on an actual Xbox, but um there's just so many games coming between, like we talked about earlier, the Indiana Jones game. You have uh,
Avowed. Yeah.
there's just so many things coming down the pike. I don't think that this is Avowed, Hellblade 2, what we saw with Hi-Fi Rush. Then we have Everwild, Perfect Dark, a potential future game coming down in that series that's been teased and teased and teased. Um, we have Marvel's Blade coming eventually. So I don't see this as a console killer, despite Sony selling whatever source you look at, 2x, 3x. Um, yeah, sure. There's a bunch of Sony bitches that all they do are buy PlayStations, and now these guys are gonna have to rethink this when they can't get their game on their little kid console. They need a big boy console. So, um, and I
Well,
have them all, so
uh,
I can shit
you're
on
right.
this. Yes,
I have
that's
them all. I
why I
like them
buy them
all.
all, so I can shit
Yeah,
on this. Yes, yeah.
I have them all. I like them all. I just I play more on Xbox probably than anything else. I think the issue people were talking about recently was just, yeah, the console sales, the hardware stuff. It seemed like they were maybe leaning into Microsoft might be going more cloud, more Game Pass cloud,
Yeah,
that, and sort of being like a Sega where you make all the software, but
you
it's
make the
just
IP.
wherever.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
And maybe things are going to go multi-plat in a lot of cases, but maybe not. I mean, we don't know for sure, but it sounds like their hardware sales are not great. But also Japan and Europe just don't buy Xboxes. It's all PlayStation, both those places. So you're not going to get any of those sales really for Xbox. So something to take into account. But I don't know. I mean, I hope it goes well for him. It just seemed like recently that was the talk. So
Yeah,
yeah,
Well,
the
I mean,
games look
I'd
good.
still like
Well-
to see Sega come back and put out a console. Like, I think we're overdue for a Sega console. Like, I don't think that the market is like, we won't buy all these things. I buy all these things. Like, if you deliver me a console, I will buy it.
So you're gonna buy
You'll
the new
buy
Atari?
two.
Are you
You'll
gonna
buy
buy the new
two.
I'll buy
Atari
two.
400 that's
Yes.
being remade?
Yeah.
The Atari.
The Atari 400. They're about to release the 400 again, so they're
Yeah. Oh, I
making
know.
that
VCS.
console computer thing back.
Yeah.
But I think this argument once again is Microsoft came into this generation saying hardware sales aren't Sony's not our
Important.
competitor. Like
Yeah.
Amazon and Netflix are our competitors.
Yeah.
It's true.
Like
Yeah.
they haven't changed their story. They haven't, all of a sudden like, no, consoles are where it's at. No, they're still sticking with the,
Game
Sony-
Pass is our thing. Yes.
Game Pass is our thing. It's games as a service.
Yep.
As the platform is the service, not a console. So
I mean, sorry, go ahead.
I don't care. The sales of a console don't mean anything at this point anymore when you look at it from Microsoft's strategy when they came into this generation. So
Yeah.
It may or may not make a difference to Microsoft. The only people it really makes difference to, unless if it doesn't make a difference to Microsoft, is just fanboys. And I think that
Yes.
people are concerned about that, and they want to tout their system as, oh, I have 3 times as much, or Nintendo is the highest sales, I think, of all of them.
Yeah.
But also the lowest quality. So it's, or quality system wise.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's so does it really matter? I don't know. But
in
down the road,
Microsoft's side, it doesn't matter because it's how many PCs are made by Microsoft anymore? None. Like everybody
Right.
else makes a PC. And
Well,
Microsoft
it
is
doesn't
still the
matter.
biggest name in
Microsoft sells
PCs.
Windows for all those PCs. So yes.
So
as long as it doesn't matter to Microsoft and they stick around, then fine.
Yeah.
I don't care. If I mean, like you were mentioning, internet's getting faster. They're starting to go towards a new DOCSIS system
Yeah.
for like just basically unlimited internet.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, and you have any device that can just stream,
Yeah.
doesn't matter
Yeah.
if you have an actual console. If everything can be in the cloud, if the license for the game will allow it to be in the cloud, you can play it anywhere.
But
So
see,
who cares?
Even if it's in the cloud, but you still need hardware in the cloud. Like if you look at
Right.
how Microsoft delivers xCloud, if you remember, there was a time where they were replacing their Xbox One X cloud servers with Xbox Series X cloud servers because
Is it a 1-to-1? Is it like an actual
no,
box?
it's an actual
No.
1-to-1. Yes.
Like it's not a virtual machine box or something?
No,
or-
it's a VM, but it's a
they have-
VM that can run at that level with that graphics card attached to it and everything else, where
Right.
that's how they're able to deliver this quality to you. So that only scales to some point. Like sometimes it's still nice to have something at your home. Like there's not really a parallel in another industry. Like this is unique to video games. It's unique to consoles. It's unique to PCs. But like, it's like, do you want to have a super powered PC at home, or do you want to connect to your library and then use their system to do research? So,
well, this is the way of CD-ROMs and DVDs and Blu-rays. I'm like,
exactly.
Netflix
yes,
doesn't
yeah,
have them anymore, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
It's true.
So we'll see what happens, but
There's a lot of physical media fans out there who will fight you for their physical media.
Yeah.
So it's a kind of odd situation these days.
should I yell next story?
well, no, because
Yes.
talking about that real quick, and
Oh.
I saw that GameStop is going to stop buying used games. Also, they're getting
I think that's
buying,
game.
That's
I think
games
that's game
out in the UK.
in,
yes.
UK.
yeah in the UK. So
Yeah.
I'm like, it's just a small step, and like physical media is dying for them too. So
Yeah.
they can't rape anybody any longer with their up pricing. So
No,
they're
exactly.
starting to get away from those.
It'll eventually come here to the U.S., but yeah, games in the UK is the first one to kind of jump into this. So.
Well, I think it's because fewer people are buying physical media, so there's not much to buy anyway. And then a lot of systems don't even come with the drive, so you can't sell them
Yeah. And
to
that's that
them.
round next Xbox Series X
Yeah.
device that comes next.
So we'll see.
But yes, let's go to the next story.
Next story.
All right. Let's see. We'll go with
I don't even remember who's got the next story.
You can grab that one if you want.
Are you talking about me?
No, I'm talking to Sub.
Oh, so
I didn't highlight anything. I really don't know. I lost track of whose story it was.
All right, then I'll take the next one,
Take
then
that.
we'll fix this after the fact. Ninja Theory is giving Hellblade 2 a digital-only release. So, to kind of go upon what we just said, Ninja Theory, huge developer, Hellblade, huge title. Hellblade 2 will not be on physical media. So this
Was Hellblade 1 on physical media?
Yeah, all
Because I don't even okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure. It's such a small game, I didn't know.
Is it a small game?
It's very short.
It may be short, but it's not small.
Oh.
Small. Yeah. Hellblade is a critically acclaimed title. And they've said, hey, you know what? Fuck physical media. We're only doing digital. And this kind of leans back on what we were just talking about is, yeah, so used games are shit. I think this is where things are going to go moving forward. So I think this is a huge story. And Ninja Theory being one of our huge devs, to put this line in the sand, I think this is something to like kind of showcase to other devs to say like, hey, yeah, we can do that too. So I have no problem with this. I don't buy physical. I can't even remember the last time I bought a disc. So I'm all in on this, but.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm like, I have no reason to buy a physical disc anymore at all. And I don't even see buying like the pre-order so you get the bonus statue. I'm like, yeah, I don't really need it. Like, I'd rather just buy everything digital and move forward. So,
yeah, Alan Wake 2 was digital only, and that pissed off a lot of people. And they're still like, if you go on the web message board that's talking about the game, you get all the. I want a physical copy. Their Remedy says something like, where's my physical version? Like, it's not gonna happen, man. It's just not gonna happen. Just get over it or don't play the game. Stop complaining about it.
I think that's your vocal minority that are on there, and
yeah,
the diehards that need a disc. So
I mean, I love that game. I would love some sort of memorabilia from it to have in my hands, but I can buy like other things that have to do with the game. I don't have to have the actual game because these days the games are barely even on the disc. It's always like it's early version. They have to patch or
a
download key or
yeah.
It's basically just a key. It's like what the Xbox One was talking about when they first launched. It's like this. Not even be the game.
We're finally catching up. Yes,
yeah. Finally. Jeez, only took us 10 years. So we'll see. So. I don't know. I think it's fine. I'll buy it. It's probably gonna be Game Pass, so I think it is on Game Pass because it's them. So yeah, I'll play that day one because I just finished the first one. It was really good. It was, I don't know, maybe 5 hours ish, and it was definitely fun. Liked it. I'm okay with it.
All right. Next story.
Call of Duty didn't top the yearly sales charts for the first time since 2009. Hogwarts Legacy looks like they beat everybody in the game sales this year. Is it a surprise? Is it not a surprise? There wasn't a big enough iteration between the last Call of Duty that was released and the Call of Duty this year.
So I'm going to tell you a secret. Every year, there's not a big enough iteration between Call of Duty and the next year. Every year. There hasn't been one since Modern Warfare 2. Like, not the new remake, but the one back in 20 2010, 2009, whatever
Yeah.
year that was. Yeah.
Call of Duty 6.
They've changed. They've in the earlier they changed theaters. They've changed years that they've been in. They've done significant upgrades to
They
weapons.
done
Black Ops.
controversial
Black
shit.
Ops is
They
good.
did. They
Yeah,
did
I'm
no
like, so-
Russian. Remember that?
I mean, they flip flop,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
there hasn't like these last two really haven't delved out of the game versions of Call of Duty in the past.
Well, they're
much at
both
all.
remakes,
So,
right? Aren't
Yeah.
they like
yeah, they were both
yeah.
remakes.
So it's-
exactly. That's
Well,
why
that's
we're
what
in the
I'm saying.
past. Yes.
I'm like, so it's like it's they didn't raise the bar enough to really warrant being number one. So they still did phenomenally well. They still sold a shit ton of games, but just Hogwarts Legacy, it came out ahead. And like a lot of people are like, oh, Hogwarts Legacy wasn't really popular. People didn't want to talk about. Like, no, we talked the shit out of this game because there was a lot of controversy around Hogwarts Legacy when it was coming out because of the J.K. Rowling shit that was going down.
Yeah.
And
She's an
everybody
asshole.
was talking about this game. So, like, for people that are saying that it wasn't a big AAA title, no, it was a big AAA that got a lot of press. So,
Mhm.
Yeah.
this is the first time since like Grand Theft Auto, Red Dead Redemption, and outside of the big three of Call of Duty, those two, that hasn't been number one. So it's nice to see a change come in. So people are looking for something different. So
All I heard were pretty much bad things about this one this time around. I didn't play it, but everyone who's a fan just said it kind of sucked in general. So I don't really think it's a surprise, but I do hope that for Microsoft's sake that next year maybe take a year off and get your shit together.
This is what
and then
people
put it
have
at a
been
really
saying
good
for
one.
so long is you don't need a Call of Duty every year. You
Yeah,
just need
take a
a
year
good
off.
Call of Duty within a cycle. Yes.
Because you know what's going to happen. The people are going to be craving it. They're like, oh, there's no Call of Duty this year. Oh. And then the next year, one's going to come out and they make a huge deal out of it. It's so different. Look at all this new
It's
stuff.
so
And
awesome.
you've waited for
Yes.
2 years and here it is. And, hype it up. Because if it's out every year, it's just like roster updates for the
Yeah,
NFL
exactly.
games.
It's Madden. Yeah.
Yeah.
And just to reiterate that, I mean, the Call of Duty, the phenomenon that goes on. This is the rundown of the top 10 from 2023, from January 1st, 2023 to December 30th. Hogwarts Legacy, number 1. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, 2. Madden, of course, is number 3.
Yep.
Marvel Spider-Man 4. Zelda 5.
Mhm.
Diablo 4, 6. Call of Duty Warfare 2,
Oh.
7.
Yeah.
So you add those two Call of Duties, they still
Yep.
probably topped everybody. But then it goes
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and EA Sports Football Club 24. So
Yeah.
I'm like, they still have 2 of the top 10. So
Yeah,
I
it's
think-
not quite the same.
not quite the same, but I mean, it's, there's a lot of heavy hitters in there. So it was a good year for AAAs there, apparently.
Yes.
Starfield came in at 11. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
Starfield, Redfall. Let's
Oh,
not even
yeah,
talk
I have
about those.
Starfield.
Yes, yeah.
I still have Starfield to play. That's on my backlog at some point.
Nice. Yeah.
Maybe I'll play
So-
that in 2 years.
So I think we're all in agreement. Call of Duty can go away for a year before they come back, and we'll be fine.
Exactly. All right. So next story.
Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is coming to Xbox and PC, quote, later this year. So I don't know if everyone here saw the developer direct for Xbox, but they showed off a bunch of games, and one of them was the new Indiana Jones game that has been rumored for years, and no one had seen anything about it, and it looks pretty freaking great. I went into a GameStop yesterday and just asked him just to check, hey, do you have any release date on that game? No, I couldn't find anything. Just in case it was, a secret or something. But yeah.
You're the first
some
guy
point
I
this year.
even knew went into a GameStop in the last 2 years.
Yeah, but I got my hair cut and there's a GameStop right next
Yeah,
to it.
yeah.
My son went with me and he wanted to get some Pokemon cards.
Yeah.
So when he was asking about those, I checked with the guy. But yeah, so it's releasing for Xbox Series X and S, PC, and cloud gaming, and not PlayStation. So yeah, so Bethesda,
says
that's kind of
something.
the first,
Yeah.
like a shot across the bow with Bethesda. Now they're not going to be putting out anywhere else on PlayStation or Nintendo. I mean, obviously not Switch, but it does look really cool. And it takes place in 1937 between Raiders and The Last Crusade, because as we all know, Temple of Doom was a prequel.
Yep.
So Raiders is between Raiders and Last Crusade was like the best time period
Yep.
that they could have
Absolutely.
set it in. It's gonna I'm looking forward to it. It looks like it's a powerful force, or the MacGuffin.
Yes.
Is
Yeah. Where
is a
they
powerful
strike that out. Right.
Yes.
MacGuffin. Yes. Yeah.
It is a powerful force in question is connected to something called the Great Circle, a perfect circle around the globe that links human-built ancient sites of great spiritual significance. Apparently, this is a real thing. Like, if you go around the world, there's actually sort of a line you can draw between a lot of these big things that were built.
Mhm.
And I'm sure a lot of it's coincidence, but that's kind of cool if it's a real thing that they based it on.
Aliens.
I like it. I like things when they sort of have a partial truth, so that it's, oh well, the Ark of the Covenant. Okay, well, that's obviously this didn't happen. This thing that they showed, but it's supposedly a real thing.
Yeah. No one's
So there's
face
stuff
is
like that.
melted, but there
No, but
was one. Yes. Yeah.
historically there's supposed to have been one. So
Mm.
that's kind of cool that they do that. And the Last Crusade with the cup and everything. So
Yep.
yeah,
Also, one of my
Only
most
the
exciting
penitent
things.
man will pass. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, one of my favorite things from that developers conference, that the show that they had, was the buy-in that Todd Howard had. Like he
Oh yeah.
was
How he's
like
in with
he
them
was
now.
so
Yes. Yeah.
in, like he's like, I've wanted this game for like 30 years. Like,
Yeah.
this is the game that I've always dreamed Indiana could be. Like,
Yep.
and he, like, you could see his hands are involved in it, which is great, because like
Yep.
that's what you need in a game like this. Not to hand it off to some studio to write their own story. He's actually deeply involved in this, and I love that. So
No, yeah, and we love Todd Howard. He's like Tiff and I have met him multiple times. He is connected in this industry. He, he's been a strong leader, and to have him like kind of shepherding this content, I think will help us all to how it kind of gets delivered in the end. But yeah, I could not be more excited for this game. So yeah.
I have one of my best friends. I sold him my original Xbox One a long time ago. So that's what he has right now to game on. He doesn't game a whole lot, but he's a gigantic Indiana Jones fan. Like, they named their dog Indy. Um,
I named
Dr.
the
Jones,
dog
actually.
Indiana.
It's
Yes,
actually
yeah.
Dr. Indiana Jones Jr., but Indy for
that's a big
short.
name for a dog.
And yeah, they love that dog. And so he may this might be something that'll get him to buy an Xbox, or maybe just an S at least, because then he could at least play it. Because he doesn't have a PC, so
Yeah,
we'll see. That
Yeah.
looks cool.
I can't
All
wait.
right.
All right. Next story. Square Enix wants to make fewer, better games. So, does not seem to be out of the realm of possibility. Like, as we've seen over the last couple of years, Square Enix has put out a lot of games. Some are lauded and some are laughed at. So I think this is something that game devs should all be thinking about, and really only Square Enix is the one that is actually saying this, which is like, hey, sometimes more isn't better. Sometimes better is more. And I think that's kind of what they're going for here. It's not about like, hey, we need a game release each quarter, and each one of those is going to drive our revenue, because your shit ones are not going to drive your revenue, and they may hurt you in the long run. So instead, put more resources into creating better things that drive, instead of a quarter's revenue, 6 months or a year's revenue, and go from there. So this is kind of like the first game studio that's realized what normal companies do in the real world. Like,
Yeah.
my company doesn't put out products just because we need to have a product every quarter. We put out products because they make sense and they can drive the market. And I think Square Enix has finally figured this out, and I for one think this is like something that most game companies could learn from, because some of them feel like if we're not constantly producing, we're going to get forgot about, but that's not the case. Like if you release garbage, what was the point of it? So I really do think this is a good turn in it, and for Square Enix to be the ones to say, "Hey, we figured this out, and we're not going to just keep cranking out shovelware, and we're going to make sure that we give you the best of the best that fits in our mold, annually." I really do think this is a good change to the industry. So, what do you guys think?
Now, just to play a little bit of the devil's advocate,
Uh-oh.
I agree with his sentiment, the statement, put out fewer, better titles. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
But I also look at it like, is this PR spin saying, like, you know what, we're about to lay off a shit ton of guys that are working on small projects that just aren't getting up to speed fast enough? And so we're going to say it like this to make it PR look better, that, hey, we're going to focus our all of our talent pools into the right titles to make us money, or is it back talk for like, hey, guess what, we're about to lay off a bunch of guys over there that just aren't getting the shit done?
I don't know. I think that a lot of it's, well, I mean, a lot of it's PR. It's PR. That's what it is. It's saying this on a business site. But I think that it's better to have fewer shovelware and fewer just like, here's a bunch of trash we're putting out. I mean, maybe somebody buy it, maybe it won't, but at least our name will be out there, and get more loyalty back by saying, we're only put out one game a year, maybe, but it's going to be really good and everyone's going to want it because we're going to put all of our resources into that. And we're not going to have all this loss from putting all this money into these games that don't make any money. We're going to put the money into the games that are the best and then just sell that one.
Exactly. And that's how Square Enix's booth was at E3 for 15 years. Like, whatever one title they were showing off was the entire booth, and it would have lines, and like if you didn't have appointments, the lines were lined up, and you would go see that spectacle and you'd be like, all right, there it is. It was the next Tomb Raider or whatever. And it, it changed from that. And I think you're absolutely right. Like it's not worth it just to have your name out there, but it's worth it to make people wait. Like, look at Rockstar. Rockstar puts out one game every 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years.
Yeah. And they sell a bajillion copies.
Yeah. And then they sell all the software. So yeah, it's like that's the
we've run out of software.
Yes, yeah.
We have no more discs. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I'm looking at the link you have here, and it says today. Okay, so it's big marquee games this year include Foam Stars, which is a Splatoon ripoff, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which is a remake, which is going to be good, but it's a remake.
Yeah.
Followed by Visions of Mana, a sequel game. It's so many sequels. And Final Fantasy 14 Downtrail, which is an expansion to a game.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's what's the unique. There's no unique games there.
No.
Period.
Nothing at all. So
Power Wash Simulator 17? Is that what's on the future?
Yeah, my son likes that Power Wash stuff.
My son likes
I actually Power Wash, which he also likes to do.
No,
but,
nice.
Yeah.
No, I think it's time that companies take a step back and look at the Rockstar way. Like, there's a reason why Rockstar are rock stars, and it's because they don't put out a ton of shit. They put out something of quality. They put them out rarely, and then they back them and feed content into them. It's just it's not a normal corporate mentality, but it works out for them.
I would say that if they want to still use their IPs and not make a completely unique thing, dig really deep, like way back into stuff that you still have the rights
Yeah,
to. Like
yeah.
maybe make a new. I forget if Nintendo owns Earthbound or not, because Square did own it, I think, or
Oh yeah.
maybe, but or Valkyrie was it Valkyrie Chronicles and
Yep. Yep.
uh Xenogears and stuff like that. I mean, is that I can't remember if that's Square or not. But way back, games that are from
Yeah.
a long time ago that you bring it back up and people go, I remember that.
Oh, that was
People our
something I
age
was
and like,
into.
you're
Yes.
making a
Yeah.
new
Yeah.
one like they did with Baldur's Gate 3. Like
Yeah.
Baldur's Gate 2 was forever ago.
Yep.
And they brought that out and it got Game of the Year
Yeah,
everywhere.
we
It's
had a
like,
question last week about it. It's like, why? Who saw this coming? Like, did anyone see
Nobody.
Baldur's Gate 3 winning Game of the Year? And I was like, no, but
no.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, bring back an IP that people have fondness for, people who have money now have fondness for, and put all of your resources into it and put out the one game a year. And then that's the game, and it's really well done, and everyone who loved that game back in the day are gonna buy it. And then you get good loyalty from it and money. I mean,
yeah.
that
No,
sounds
even
right to me.
JC in chat was like, do you guys have a copy of Battletoads? Battletoads is something that they break back out every few years, and it brings in a shitload of people because people are like, oh, Battletoads is back. I'd like to see Lemmings. Bring back Lemmings. Bring back, like, there's so many different series that have not shown up in years. Like Sierra Online could bring back fucking King's Quest and Space Quest and Police Quest. There's tons of niche series that are long overdue to come back, instead of just cranking out your garbage year over year over year. And sure,
Final Fantasy.
yeah.
Fantasy.
Oh my god.
Give me a
remake.
Pitbull or Goonies.
Yeah. It's always
Right.
like remake or it's all that times 10 ultimate this or that or like just bring something back and bring it back with
Good.
yeah. Well, good is the understatement.
Or
but yeah.
make something brand new that's really good, but that's harder.
Yeah.
So maybe
that
try
is
to bring
hard.
something
Yes, yeah.
bring something old back that people have nostalgia for that hasn't had a game in 15 years,
Well, like we just talked about, this is why we're all excited about the Indiana Jones game.
Oh yeah. Well,
yeah.
I've never played an Indiana Jones game because all the old ones were really old, and the N64 one I didn't play. So
All right. Fair enough.
Yeah,
I mean, that is really old now too, I guess.
Yes.
Like I think the last one I played was maybe on a Sega Genesis. All I remember is jumping on the invisible platforms to get across the chasm.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, yeah. Penitent Man will pass.
Yeah.
But
All right. Selden last story.
all right, I'm gonna call this our what the fuck story, the WTF story, in my opinion.
Ooh,
Oh, well, bringing back a category.
while.
In the world of tuition reimbursements and cancellation of debts, UC Berkeley has come out to offer a class that'll make you say, "What the fuck?"
This story has me saying, what the fuck?
UC Berkeley is offering a class that'll help you get good at fighting games.
Get good.
University of California, Berkeley is offering a class that's centered around fighting games for the spring 2024 semester. Not only will the class teach people how to become a better player, but it'll also explore the impact the genre has had on the world.
Wow.
Really? This is a
Wow.
class you're taking for credits? No. God.
That's a
damn it,
blow-off
no.
class.
Well, this is the dumbification of college. Yes. Yes.
I mean, it's been that way for a while.
I'm like,
there's
this
always
is
a few of
the
those
modern day
classes.
basket weaving class, isn't it?
Yes. Yes.
I took a film class once. I just kind of sat there and watched movies and talked about movies.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I know the University of California's set of schools has got the highest tuition for out-of-state students.
UCB is a good school, but this
It's a
seems
really
kinda
good
nuts.
school?
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't get it. It's got me saying in the back of the head, like, what the fuck?
What
What
the
the
fuck?
fuck?
Yes.
What the fuck?
All right. Well, on that, If you have questions, stories you want us to talk about next week, give us a call, 773-527-2961. Emails at podcast@tool.com. Comment in the episode's thread in the Tool to Play homepage. And sponsors! If we had them, we'd pimp them, but we don't, so we won't. So, let's just move on. Twitter us up. You can find everything Tool Player at twitter.com/Tool to Play. Everything podcast related is twitter.com/still_gut_game. Facebook the fuck out of us, facebook.com/Tool to Play. We have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/Tool to Play. Go there, subscribe, find all of our archive video content. We won't go into any details on that because it's Selden's birthday. Please rate and review the podcast in iTunes. Give us 5 stars. Give it an extra 5 seconds. Write something nice. Like, hey, happy birthday, Selden, or whatever you want to write. We have a Twitch channel, twitch.tv/still_got_game. We also broadcast there live. We have a Discord channel. That's discord.me/stillgotgame. That's discord.me/stillgotgame. I'm there like 1% of the time. Selden's there like 97% of the time. Shadow's there 90% of the time. Tiff 20, Yant 1. But you will be able to go back. You think my numbers are off?
No, I don't know who you're talking
who's
about.
Yount? Who's this Yount?
Yount, who deleted himself from the outline earlier tonight. Yes, so you will be able to find folks in the show to talk to during the day. So I guess as always we jump to some kind of per person charities or whatever else we want to talk about. So Selden, what do you want to push out there to the community this week?
I really don't have a lot going on right now. I just know that it's getting cold and a lot of states are under severe weather. If you have extra coats or anything like that, or extra clothes, donate them to your local charity, especially for kids drives and stuff like that. That would be great if you guys could do that. That would be awesome. Be a better human. Give what you don't need to somebody that needs. And you can find me on all my socials. You can find my socials at my Linktree account. You can find that under Selden007. There are some times throughout this year that I'm taking a break. I'm once a month, I'm rotating a few weeks off each month from a different social platform just to give myself a little bit of time off. That's when he ignored
you, is when he's on his like 1 month off break. He's like, yeah, follow me on Facebook. And then he's like, I took
I'm off of Facebook
November and December off. So, yes.
So if I don't respond to you on Discord, it might be my month off of Discord. So,
or he might be sleeping. No one knows.
Nobody knows. But other than that, no, that's all I got. What about you, Shadow?
I don't have much right now. I would say that, hey, just a reminder, if you have pets, don't leave them outside for too long because their feet will freeze. So be very, very careful. Don't forget your pets outside. I know that happens sometimes in the very, very cold. So be careful with that. And I have all my links at Linktree Brian S. Emmerich. And that's all I got for now. I just want to let Selden have the rest of his birthday. So I'm going to give him back his time.
Yeah. All of my links are at Linktree/it's Selden's birthday, but I also have like a second Linktree, which is Linktree/Derek Nolan. That's where all my shit is. That's where all the show's shit is. But yeah, definitely go out there, send Selden some gifts. Like his Amazon, like if you search for Christopher with the K, like no one spells it, Selden. Like he has
like Christopherson?
Yeah, like Chris Christopherson, but like Chris Selden.
Christopher.
Like no one has ever chosen the K for Christopher. Yeah.
Crisscross.
But yeah, you can search him up his Amazon. He has some wish lists. Like send him his hiking shit, his camping shit. He wants some Coleman cooking stoves. He wants he has so much stuff on there. So just throw him a bone.
Get some of the moon cheese and stuff that he can like trail mix.
Dehydrated meals as we're always good.
Yeah. He's got tons of stuff on there. So throw him a bone. Shoot him something. But All of my stuff is Linktree/Derek Nolan. That's where all the show shit is. That's where all my shit is. But really, I do want to remind you can join us each every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific at youtube.com/tool to play, facebook.com/tool to play, twitch.tv/still_got_game, x.com/tool to play, which sounds so weird, and kick.com/tool to play. And on that,
Still got game.
yes, kick.com/still got game, yes. And on that, why don't we wrap this Selden 70th birthday up? I'm Derek D. Smooth Nolan.
I am Chris Selden, 007 Selden.
I am Brian Shadow Emmerich.
Oh, dude.
70